able to allow someone, but participating means voting, I would say. And if you're just listening, you can listen.
Yeah, she can listen in. You can't actually conduct the meeting. I mean, we do this, you're convening the meeting, but you're kind of not. You're not necessarily, I mean, you're not doing.
So I will start the meeting and we'll open up the broadcast and we'll do all the things that are not action items. I can start now?
Yeah.
All right, so if everyone's okay, welcome again. This has been a while since we've seen each other, but it's good to see all of you again. Dr. Newbell, we can't vote you in for participation just yet, but I think Sean Davis will be a little late, and once he gets here, we can vote you in to participate, but you can still talk during our discussion items and all of that. To start off,
Thank you.
Welcome. To start off, I'd like to go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Spoonhour had mentioned that we should do the pledge at this one as well. And I know a lot of times when we have an EC meeting, you don't do the pledge because it's usually closed door, but this is live. And so I figure since this is live and our regular meeting is live, we should do it both times. So I just wanted to address that because I don't think I addressed it before. It just kind of added it.
I'll add it to the agenda for next meeting.
Yeah.
Be listed.
Well, it's listed.
It's there?
It's there. Yeah, it's there.
Okay.
You've already added it.
I got you. You're on top of it, Janet.
Yeah,
Sure,
Probably
okay.
because it wasn't in the last.
All right, so
I'll add it to the minutes then.
So we don't have a quorum yet, so we don't do roll call yet, or where do we want to hold off on roll call?
You can conduct the roll call and then just certify that there is not a quorum yet, and that there will be hopefully
Okay.
soon.
All right, so Ms. Scott, can you go ahead and do the roll call?
Certainly. Town of Ashland, Chair McGraw,
Present?
Charles City County, Mr. Atkins,
Present.
Chesterfield County, Mr. Engel,
Present.
Goochland County, Mr. Spoonhour, Hanover County, Mr. Davis, Henrico County, Reverend Nelson, New Kent County Vice Chair Stewart. Here. Powhatan County, Mr. McClung, and City of Richmond, Dr. Newbill.
Yes, audio.
Thank you. We do not yet have a quorum.
All right. Moving on into A, we're going to skip over 1, come to number 2. Any consideration for amendments to the agenda?
You can't do that anyway.
We can't do that either. Public comment time. Is there anyone who would like to speak to us from the public, either virtual or face-to-face?
We haven't received any requests.
Not seeing anyone, I'm gonna close public comment. So we can't approve the amendment, but we can get into our discussion items. We have the FY 25 goals. Ms. Schickel and I have discussed the goals for 2025, and we've also discussed a Pulse member survey. So I'm gonna turn it over to Ms. Schickel, or do you want me to open that up? Okay, well, I'll continue. I'll continue if you're okay with it.
Sure.
So we have the goals. If you turn into your packet, I don't know what the page number is. Six? Okay, mine's kind of pulled off.
Almost 6.
Yeah, so these are suggestions of the goals for PlanRVA for 2025 fiscal year. I'd love to entertain any ideas any of you have. I'll just read over the titles of them, but I'm not gonna read each individual one. The purpose of some of these goals is, 1, to have something to evaluate. 2, to actually help our localities, each of us we're going to do. And then 3, to give this body a mission to go forward, like how they're gonna conduct things and make their own strategy. So coalesce our regional strategic plan, support member jurisdictions through local planning assistance, serve as the regional data hub, be the regional governor, and 5, ensure compliance and agency sustainability. I'll give you all a few minutes to look over that, and I'll entertain any comments, discussions. Dr. Newbell, are you able to look at this packet? Have you seen it ahead of time?
Yeah, it is page, did you say page 21?
It might be in the plan, let me see.
It might be 21 for you, but for 6 on our executive committee one.
I'll send it to her.
Oh,
Um,
page 6, okay, let's go there.
Yeah. Ms. Schickel's sending it to you as well, in case you don't see it.
Okay, I'll wait for her version. I have the full policy board, and I was about to scroll through it
She has the
to get to that.
Ms. Sickle,
Yes.
could you give me, what, 2A would be?
Oh, yeah. So we opened, we initiated a request for proposals, actually last fiscal year, June-ish, I'll say, does that sound right? In June, to invite firms to submit proposals to us. Firms that provide non-professional services related to planning, pre-engineering, I guess architecture design type, not really architecture, but kind of planning, design, environmental services, et cetera, to be an extension of our staff expertise, so that when we have different grant opportunities, or just different projects or needs identified by the localities, we can hire those professional
Right.
firms. And so, we are in the process right now of signing the master agreements with those firms. I believe that there are 11 that were selected. And that'll be a program that through agreements that Mr. Gregory has put together, we can sign cooperative procurement agreements with each of our 9 jurisdictions, so that as locality members of the organization, you can also purchase from that RFP, essentially, from those agreements. So it would enable, and I should also mention, our sort of affiliated regional entities like the Central Virginia Transportation Authority. So as an example, it would enable CVTA to
Great
purchase
organization, by the way.
from the on-call program for cost estimates for transportation projects. It'll enable us to hire a firm to help us with the rural transit study that's underway right now. And then it would also enable the member jurisdictions to purchase from those contracts as well.
These are non-professional services, not construction.
Right.
Not engineering, and not architectural services. So they're basically traffic planning, community planning, zoning, those kind of
We're on page
analyses.
6, looking at our we're looking at our
so that
goals for
Particularly the smaller
2025.
jurisdictions.
Look on the EC one.
Can procure those services cooperatively with PlanRVA.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that program will be, the master agreements that we have with those firms, is good for 5 years. So that window of time that we can purchase from those agreements will be for that period of time, and then we can renew, by going through another solicitation process, at the end of that period.
Good, and Ms. Scott, Mr. Davis is here, and so we do have a quorum, correct?
Yes, we do.
Excellent. And just to reiterate, we're looking over the goals, this is a discussion item, for fiscal year 2025, the goals that we have set forth for PlanRVA. And any ideas of things to add, take away are open. And I'm gonna continue with the discussion item part since we're already there, and then we'll come back to then actually doing our action items. Since we're already here, I don't wanna get wonky.
I'll just say, Mr. Chairman, I think number 3 is key, crucial, very important. Glad to see that it's prominently listed here. I think that's an important aspect of PlanRVA.
Thank you. And I agree, as we're making our decisions, having a central location of data is very important.
Chairman.
Yes.
5B, can we, I just noticed the verbiage there. We'll get some in-depth on that. I have a general idea, but I just thought.
Sure.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, so since we experienced the vacancy in the Director of Finance position, we did bring on a contractual basis Warren Whitney. They are a local fractional CFO firm. So we have Jill Swinger, who served in that capacity for us previously, who has been assisting with the close of the fiscal 2024 and preparation for the audit. And then Billy Johnson, who's also on the Warren Whitney team, is covering the July 1 period going forward and working with our team. So he is here on site Tuesdays and Thursdays, working with Diane Fusco and Karen Robinson to provide that temporary support. And the intention is that we would be moving to opening a recruitment process for the full-time position to be filled this fall. I would like to advertise the position by the end of the month, by the end of September, because typically recruitment process takes 2 months to be able to, from advertisement to person taking the first day here at the commission, and so we really wanted to be able to have the person start before the end of the calendar year.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Chair, just a
Yes.
question.
Dr. Newbell?
Would and Ms. Schickel, would the efforts we've been discussing possibly in terms of a joint legislative agenda relative to education fall under, I guess, would that be under number 4? That would be in that category. Generally under convening, where you have convened regional organization leads or anyone. I mean, it would fall within that strategic goal area. Is that correct?
I thought we said, and believe me, I'm very invested in this, so I agree with Dr. Newville that we need to do it, but I thought we said that PlanRVA was gonna kind of be a catalyst to bring it together, but it wasn't necessarily in PlanRVA's purview on education, so it was just gonna be a way for all of us to communicate together what we're doing, but it would be kind of a separate entity of it.
Well, that's why. Oh, okay. That's
Yes,
why I was thinking it was
100%.
more the convener as opposed to, further execution there. But okay, that'll work.
I don't
No,
know.
I want to add to that after Sean.
Oh, thank you. I think Dr. Newbill and Mr. Engel are exactly right. I think that's what we talked about. I think it falls squarely under number 4 as being a regional convener. While there weren't necessarily going to be action items, we saw that many of the things that we're dealing with education were woven into a lot of what we do. So, I mean, emergency management services, it was not one that would typically come to mind, but there were things that are being done in the schools that help prepare for emergency management services, certain things. I know Dr. McGraw's probably familiar with that. But this shouldn't fall off, and this, I'm not trying to infer that it would, but it shouldn't fall off. We need to make sure it's in there somewhere, and maybe under number 4, because one, that was one of the largest attended meetings on a new initiative that I've ever seen. There was a lot of good feedback that came from it. I think there was plenty of clarification during that first meeting. And Ms. Schickel, was that like October last year? It was January of this year?
Yeah, of 2024.
When we had the meeting?
The special committee meeting.
Okay, so yeah, I just think, it's kind of like in the government, if it's not in the budget, then it's not a priority. If it's not on our goals, then this could very easily fall off. And a lot of folks after the meeting, once receiving information, what we were looking at, recognized the crossover in that. So I do think we need to make sure that we prioritize this and get it somewhere.
That we capture it somewhere.
Yeah, we capture it. So that's a great point. Yeah, that we capture it somewhere. So I fully support what Dr. Newbill and Mr. Engel are talking about here. I think that needs to happen. However we work it in.
Well, I do agree with Dr. Newville. my understanding of it was here but separate. But I don't have a problem capturing it because I do think she has a good point.
Yeah, so I think the goal here was not to make it so that we're a lobbyist organization, but more of a collection of information that might concern certain localities, and you could say, here's the information. And I had conversation with Ms. Schickel about this, and so it was my understanding it will be in here. Maybe the language needs to be more direct to say, we'll collect information about joint legislative items that may interest certain localities, but it wouldn't be that PlanRVA is promoting one over the other or suggesting that somebody should or should not do something.
I think that's a very valid.
I agree. Yeah, I concur with that. I wasn't suggesting that as much as, just convening or setting the table that pulls us together. But no, I absolutely would agree with your comments here.
And if you go and look at some of the things that we deal with, so you've got folks talking about, housing, you have folks talking about transportation, schools in the education setting for any MSA, it comes into play. So I don't think that it's really a one-off. In all fairness, I do believe some localities thought that maybe there was going to be some overstep into their legislative agendas or whatever. And I believe we clarified that, unless somebody saw it differently that was sitting around the table. And I don't see anybody. Did you see it differently, Ms. Schickel? That we clarified to the positive. We clarified that we're not stepping into someone's legislative agenda on individual education items within. Okay, yeah. So I think it's an easy connector.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I'm hearing is having like 4F added to be specific around continuing the opportunity to share, be that conduit for information sharing.
Sure.
I guess two things. It's timely because just this week I talked with Matt Stanley from Richmond Public Schools, and then yesterday with Natalie Spillman from Chesterfield, who is the legislative affairs director for the county, and on this very topic. So the joint committee, committee that was established out as a response to the JLARC report actually meets Monday, if I'm not mistaken. And so we have already set up a commitment to each other that we're gonna communicate after Monday's meeting. And then my intention was to talk with you about really the outcome of that meeting is gonna determine whether there's anything
It's at 1 o'clock
substantial,
on
so to
Monday.
speak, to bring back to this board from an information sharing perspective. But after the convening that we did host in January, I think the general consensus was we were in a waiting, holding pattern until this joint committee met, which the first meeting will be Monday.
Okay.
And that the commitment that I think PlanRVA, through me, was prepared to make was that we would share information that comes out. So our 3 large jurisdictions that have dedicated personnel relative to legislative affairs were kind of on hand to be able to talk and share information, and then we were gonna be able to provide that out to all 9 of our jurisdictions so that everybody knows what's going on, and those I would say opportunities for there to be like joint advocacy would be worked out kind of among the localities and not through us, but we would help kind of just facilitate the
Beautiful.
communication.
Yes.
Um,
That's what I was saying.
Okay.
Just like that. Except
Well, it's helpful.
except it took me long.
I wanted to
Yeah.
restate what I think I'm hearing you all say so that I'm making sure I'm doing what you all are expecting, but does that sound like a good track to go?
That sounds
That
like,
sounds, yeah, for me it does, yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, does that need to be an item F, or do you feel comfortable that it's already in here, understood? Dr. Newbelt?
Well, I'm comfortable, excuse me, as we just discussed it, and so it is broadly convening, but it's not I'm comfortable with it not being there as explicitly. But I would like, if there's some way to just reference, just as Martha has described, being able to share the information in such a way that if there are common legislative items that we would coalesce around, that that table and that opportunity would be set, so.
So if I'm, and
So
I
I,
don't wanna jump the gun too much, but.
I'm not sure I answered the question.
Yeah, you did. I'm just thinking if we're changing language a little bit, we have our second sentence under B, the regional convener, it says convene various groups to support cooperative work, and then it goes to promote networking. If we had a parenthesis, e.g., like for the sake of example, education, and
Yeah,
if possible,
that
if other
would
people
work.
wanna add, I don't know if I wanna make like a whole bullet point to make it such a big deal, but I do want to make it as, Mr. Davis said, it's gotta be in here so that we don't lose it, right? We don't lose the focus, so if you're okay with that.
That would be great.
All right, so I got thumbs up around, Mr. Atkins, same?
Most appropriate.
Yes, do it, okay,
So just revise to have education as a,
as an EG.
okay, perfect.
I just wanna, as a Latin teacher, just wanna clarify, EG means for the sake of example, IE means that is to say. So when you put IE, it means you're replacing the word with another word. When you put EG, you're just giving an example of one of the things that, or two of the things, or three of the things that you're interested in.
Not having that background, I just thought EG meant example.
Well, yeah,
I don't know
people,
why,
yeah, but
but I've
people
always
mix
associated
this
the
up
two
often,
together.
and I just wanna make that, so an EG doesn't mean you have to do this, it means this is one example of one thing we will be looking at, but the fact that we have it in there will allow us to.
So if we have a PhD Latin teacher for this year, or do we need an attorney this year? Can we see? I'm just trying to look at cost saving measures.
Yeah, I think we still need the attorney. That's good. Are there,
Well, I'll accept IE or EG.
okay, all right,
Did
thank
you know
you.
that? I didn't know that.
I did not, but I knew EG was basically an example, doesn't,
I'm
I knew
grateful that
that,
you
but I
said that
didn't
on the
know
front
I.
end so that I get it properly put in the document,
Yes.
so thank you.
Well, I wanted to make sure it's right. Is there any more discussion on the goals?
I didn't expect to get an education here today. That was-
All right, we've got a lot of educators in this one. So let's move on to the other discussion item, and this is,
Do you wanna go back to do the certification to?
do we need to do that first?
Now that we have a quorum, I would go
Okay.
back to the top of the
All right.
agenda for this. That's what I would recommend.
All right, so
Clear those items.
on the advice of our attorney, which is good we have one, we're gonna go back to the certification of a quorum. And so we don't have to make a motion for that
I would
certification.
suggest you do the roll call all over again and just ask Janice to certify on the record that we do have a quorum now. And I believe Sean Davis arrived approximately 8:55, so
All right,
the record should reflect the
My
quorum
apologies.
existed as of that moment.
all good. Okay,
He wants everybody else
All
to
right.
say they didn't show up.
Town of Ashland, Chair McGraw.
here,
Charles City County, Mr. Atkins.
Present.
Chesterfield County, Mr. Engel.
Here.
Goochland County, Mr. Spoonhour. Hanover County, Mr. Davis.
Present.
Henrico County, Reverend Nelson. New Kent County, Vice Chair Stewart.
Here.
Powhatan County, Mr. McClung. And City of Richmond, Dr. Newbill.
Yes, your
We need-
audio.
Vote to let her.
yeah, we're getting ready to do that. That's just the roll call. So, I have approved, so we do have a quorum?
We do have a quorum.
Thanks. I have approved requests from one member to participate remotely, Cynthia Newbell. The reason is a personal matter, specifically a scheduling conflict that prevents attendance in person. I will now entertain a motion to confirm that the decision to approve the member's request was in conformance with the PlanRVA policy for remote participation of members, and the voice of the remotely participating member can be heard by all persons at the primary meeting location.
So moved. Second.
So I have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Dr. Newbell, you are officially able to participate.
Thank you so
And
much.
you're welcome. And so now we move on to item 2, consideration of amendments to the agenda. Is there any thought to adjust the agenda in any way?
We're almost done.
That's true. All right, seeing none, we're gonna move on to item 4, approval of the meeting minutes, August 1st, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right, that's approved. We've already finished discussion item B1. We're gonna move on to discussion item B2. And this is jointly what I've heard from several people and my experiences also as being on the executive committee, watching other chairs get to the end of the year and then discussing the performance of our executive director and PlanRVA in general. So I was hoping that we could have a survey that we might conduct twice. And this survey would be for each of us to see how PlanRVA impacts our locality in positive, negative, or whichever way, and also give each of us a chance to write in things. So we would have both different types of data to be collected, if you will, a quantitative and qualitative survey. But I want to give each of y'all a chance. I asked Martha to create this survey. I evaluated it. I think it looks good. I wanted 7 questions or less because I didn't want it to be burdensome on any of you. But I do want your opinion on whether this is something we want to do. It is not meant to be the only evaluative portion of the executive director and PlanRVA, but it is meant to be a resource for us to communicate. So I'll stop and is there more to add?
Yeah, and I do not want to be difficult, but hearing the instructions loud and clear from Dr. McGraw, he was clear with me, 7 or fewer questions, and there are some choices in here, so I think what we were trying to do is get a little bit of direction from you about, I mean, hopefully this set of questions, in some way, shape, or form hits the mark, but there were some where the phrasing, we wanted to get feedback on. So there's the ors for question 3, 5, and 6, I think. So yeah, 3, 5, and 6, because the phrasing, I know, I didn't explicitly follow the instructions,
That's quite all right. That was good.
so apologies.
No. You did
Question
it
3
right.
has 2 ors with 3 questions contained in there.
Yes.
I like the
So
middle.
we're about 11 questions for the 7. Just checking.
And for question 3, I like the middle option.
Let me see.
Thank you, Ms. Stewart.
So there is currently support from at least one member for question 3, the middle one. PlanRVA is responsive to requests for services from its member localities.
Yeah, I like that.
I think that's the only one we can actually measure. Because the third one, how do you define high quality? The first one, how do you, like what I need in New Kent is much different than what Mr. Engel needs in Chesterfield. So I think those are too far away from being able to be measured.
Well, this goes to some of what Mr. Spoonhour was saying. He wanted to make sure that PlanRVA was responsive. And so so we skipped to 3, but can we go to 1 and just say, you're okay with the way that that's phrased? Do you like it, don't like it?
I like it.
Number 2. Let me pause here. Dr. Newbell, are you able to read these? Or do I need to read them
I
aloud?
am.
Okay,
No, I am.
all right.
I'm
Trying to be
assuming we
respectful.
just did question 1. Correct, PlanRVA is effective at identifying, et cetera, et cetera. Is
Yes,
that it?
yes.
Okay.
And then question 2, my locality is engaged satisfactory by PlanRVA and regional planning efforts. And 3, there seems to be consensus on the second wording, PlanRVA is responsive to requests for services from its member localities. 4, I know who to connect with at PlanRVA if my locality needs support on a specific project or issue. 5, I feel the PlanRVA team is sufficiently conducting outreach to my locality and connecting appropriately with staff members and commissioners.
I like the second
Or
option.
PlanRVA staff are effective at forming professional working relationships with locality staff and organizations in the region. Like the second one, building the relationship.
I like this.
It is sufficiently conducting sounds, like the minimum standard that you could function to.
Well, the second just more specific,
Yeah.
like.
6, I am satisfied with the quality and content of communications from PlanRVA about current projects and planning efforts through blogs, newsletters, and social media. 4, thank you. PlanRVA communicates clearly and effectively with its member localities.
I like the first one.
Would you like the specifics?
Yes.
Y'all agree with the first one? Being more specific about what that communication looked like versus just a generic communication?
I mean, I would, to argue against myself on that one.
Do you need to have I'm satisfied with, or can you just have the quality and content of communications from PlanRVA? Like, I don't know that you.
Satisfactory.
Not satisfactory.
I don't know, I just, satisfied sounds to me, I just don't like the word satisfied. I don't know if it's necessary.
PlanRVA provides quality.
So we could,
Okay.
PlanRVA provides quality communications, or,
I understand. That sounds, PlanRVA provides quality, yeah.
Quality communications, yeah, about current project, yeah, I think that's good. I don't think it needs to.
were you going to, Ms. Stewart, were you going to say that the example blog, newsletter, social media is maybe too narrow?
No, I was just gonna say, arguing against myself for the second one, I like the open-endedness, because I don't know if everybody does blogs, newsletters, and social media, but I think it would be, it's easier to measure the first option, and I think if we're surveying, we need to measure, so I'm just gonna end my comment there.
Good thought.
So the first one as revised
Yes.
is preferred, okay.
Dr. Newbell, question 6, we've revised it to the first choice and just want to read it for you. PlanRVA provides quality communications from PlanRVA about current projects and planning efforts through blogs, newsletters, and social media. Does that sound good to you?
Is it okay if we delete from PlanRVA? So PlanRVA provides quality communications
Yeah,
about
that's
current
what
I was
projects and
thinking.
planning,
Yeah.
just to not be repetitive.
That's, yes.
Yes,
Good, and that takes us to our 7th one. I would like PlanRVA to provide additional support, services, or outreach to my locality, yes or no, and then give an open-ended response.
okay.
Overall, y'all satisfied with the survey? You're willing to take the survey in the beginning and maybe closer to the end? And again, I don't think it's required that you do the open-ended response each time. Like, that's only if you feel the need.
If you're if you're happy with what you're getting, you probably don't need one. If you need something additional, you probably should list what it is.
Yeah.
Who would you like the survey to be distributed to?
Initially, I thought it would just go to the executive board, but I'm happy for it to go to the full commission if you feel the full commission would like to participate. I just feel like it's gonna be imbalanced if we go the full commission, because you might have one locality, everyone's excited and wants to participate, and now it looks like it's skewed, but if it's, I just find that survey data usually is better when it's a smaller survey. You actually have more, you have better data when it's smaller. In my experience but I'm happy to.
And we've never done a survey of this nature before, correct, that I can recall?
Yeah, this is new. Yeah, as far as I've been here, I don't recall doing one.
I would suggest you leave it to the executive committee if they want to share it with the rest of the
I
board,
would,
but it's fine, but
I would as well.
primary
I
response.
concur with that.
Okay. Okay.
We probably should just confer with our
Yeah,
locality, that way we speak with one voice instead of 6 voices from one jurisdiction if they have 6
but you
voices.
could get 6 different answers.
You could,
That is very depending on the day. Yeah,
and it'd make each one have to work together.
that's right.
I can put this in like I guess it's up to you, I can, what format, I can put it in like a survey tool? Or we can send it out as a doc, what feels
I
the
would,
right way.
I would like a survey tool that I could just use my phone, I click a button and then I just answer it and type in stuff.
Yeah,
Or if I wanna sit at my laptop, I can use it that way,
I don't remember if we have SurveyMonkey or what we have, but we'll use whatever the
whichever one you have,
tool is,
yeah.
okay.
So yeah, if this will come out to us soon, please, like try to answer it after you've, had a chance to confer with your locality. And, cause it'd be nice to have a starting point and then have an ending point.
Since the executive committee doesn't meet in October, we meet again in November, right, Janice? Do we wanna say before the next executive committee meeting, we could set a date so that we could compile the results and then have it back to you for that November meeting?
That sounds great.
Okay, does that give everybody
Is that
enough
enough time for all of you?
It would be like, the end-ish of October.
Okay. You say the end of October is when it comes out or when you'll have it compiled?
We would put the packet out, right around the end of the month of October, so if we had the results to compile that I can share with you and then we could include in the packet, we'll put the November 14th meeting agenda packet out on November 4th. So if we had survey results back by the last week of October, that would be from
Yeah, and how soon do you think you'll have the survey available to us?
tomorrow
Okay, so that's
or
quick.
Monday, yeah,
All right.
tomorrow or Monday.
All right, anything else to discuss or bring up? Do we move to adjourn or we just adjourn?
Your prerogative.
All right, not seeing anything else before us, we'll adjourn the executive committee.